Have you ever been using Verse to make a custom UI, but it ended up looking something like this? Well, you have nothing to worry about because in this video, I'm going to show you how to position different widgets on a canvas. So once we've found the part of the Verse code where the UI is created, you'll see lots of different numbers and terminology that kind of looks like a jumbled mess to an untrained eye. How do you change these numbers and values to get the image on your screen to look and be in the right position that you want it to? Well, it's actually quite simple. All you need to do is go into UEFN and create a new user interface and make a widget blueprint. Here, you can title it, I'm going to title it test widget, but it doesn't matter. Now that you have it open, I'm going to be going over in this video a canvas panel and how a canvas panel works. So we're going to drag a canvas panel onto our screen. This green rectangle is the canvas panel, and what it represents is the player's view screen. So everything inside of this is what the player will have on their HUD. So the first thing that we have on our HUD is an image. So we can go and drag that on and change the image property to the image that I'm using, which is going to be Money UI New. Now that I have that selected, I can go ahead and scale it and position it however I want. Once you have the image in the right size and position, you want to click on it and you see lots of options here. Each of these options correlate to those numbers that we saw earlier in the Verse code. So what we want to do first is look at the anchors. The anchor is this star looking thing that we have in the top left corner. What we want to do with this is change it as close as possible to where our widget is. So here I'm going to choose left middle because that's the closest to our widget. Could also probably have chosen bottom left, but it's about the same, so I'm not going to worry about it. The reason you do this is whenever people change their HUD scale in game, it's going to scale towards the anchor. So as this gets smaller, it's going to go towards the anchor. So if someone has a different HUD scale and the anchor is really far away, the position of the image is going to change drastically. So once you have the anchor in the right position, we can go ahead and go back to our Verse code. Find the canvas slot that actually has our texture block or the image, and it's using the same image as I did in the widget. And you'll see, just like in the widget blueprint, we have an anchors option. Here it has an X value and a Y value for both a minimum and a maximum. What do these numbers mean? So back in the widget blueprint, we can actually treat it like a coordinate plane almost. We have an X value and a Y value. The origin would be the top left corner, so this will be 0, 0. If the X is at 1, it would be here. And if the Y was at 1, it would be here. If both values were at 1, it'd be in the opposite corner. So in this case, our Y value will be 0.5 because it's halfway down the screen, and our X value will remain 0. So go back into the Verse code, make sure the X value is 0.0 still, and change the Y values. X 0.0, Y 0.5. I did just realize that I did this on the wrong canvas slot, so I'm going to change it on this one as well. Now what we have is the offsets. So if we go back into the blueprint, you'll have these 4 options: position X, position Y, size X, and size Y. The position X and the position Y are going to be the same as the top and the left values in the offsets. The left will be the X value because it's horizontal, and the top will be the Y value because it's vertical. So if we go into the widget, we'll find our Y value is 67. Go back in and change our top to 67. In the widget, our position X is -76. So if we go back in and change the left to -76, now the next two, right and bottom, are going to correlate to the size X and the size Y. So the size X is 540. That'll be the same as our right value, 540. And our bottom value, which will be size Y, is 335. So we can change this to 335. The next two values, which are alignment and size to content, they're actually, in this case, already the same, but size to content can either be true or false, and the alignment has another X and Y value that you can manipulate. So for now, let's go ahead and we can compile this. It doesn't really matter because we're not actually using the widget. But if we go ahead and build verse code, now that we've changed all the values, now that I've loaded into the game, you can see that the image, now that we have the correct values in, is in the position that we want it to be. But the number, as you can see, is not. It's kind of in my health bar right now. So let's go ahead and add that to our widget and change all the values over. Back in the widget, we'll drag onto a text block, position it in the correct position, and change the anchor to the left center. Now let's do the same thing as we did with the image and change each of these values. The anchors I already changed earlier. Position X is 136, so our right value will be 136. Position Y is 211, so our top value will be 211. What is interesting about text widgets is that the right and bottom do not actually matter for the text widget because they do not change the font size. To be able to visualize what happens, for example, if we try to scale this at all, the text actually remains in the exact same position. So the size X and size Y do not matter at all. And as of right now, they don't actually have an option in verse to manipulate text size, so you actually only have one option. Let's go ahead and push verse changes here. Now that we're back in the game, you can see that our text is positioned in the correct place and fits up nicely with the image. That pretty much sums up this video on how to position widgets in a canvas. Very soon, I'm going to be posting a part 2 that covers overlays. Overlays act as a way better alternative to canvases because as you get more complicated with your widgets, canvases actually have quite a few issues. If you're still confused about widgets or just want to know more about how they work, UEFN actually has some pretty good documentation over it, which I'll go ahead and link in the description, and I'd recommend checking that out. Also, if you have any more tutorials or ideas for videos that you want me to create, go ahead and let me know in the comments. I'm currently working on a Tycoon tutorial that I'm going to post along with all of the verse code completely for free, so make sure to like and subscribe to stay tuned.